Okay, and I think we are recording. And hello, and welcome to the XStreamed Chat Podcast here on the Extreme Improv YouTube channel. I am David. I am joined today by Sanjiv. How are you doing?
All well, David. Thank you very much. How have you been?
Yes, not too bad. It's a bit cold today. It's literally been like snowing outside.
It's pretty warm here for December,
Yeah,
so it's like 25 degrees outside.
25 degrees. Oh my goodness! Like looking at this, let's just see what literally I am like dealing with today because I do not do well with a cold. Is like minus two here. I'm very jealous.
So it's like 25 degrees outside. So yeah, I mean, and humid. It's
And
about 70,
humid.
80% humidity. Yeah.
Wow! Like I have literally had like layers on. I've got like it's Die Hard base, but it's still like a Christmas shirt. But yeah, absolutely. Is definitely not 25 degrees here. But we said just before we begin, like you said it'd been a little while. So how long has it been since like I guess you're on the Extreme Improv like channel for one of the festivals?
Uh, Last year November I was there,
Yeah. So last November. Wow. So just over a year ago.
just over a year ago. Yeah.
So well, it's good to catch up. What has been keeping you busy over the last year or recently? I guess.
So one of the things is that things have opened up now. So the COVID and the lockdown, everything seems to be a thing of the past. And also with the things opening up, a lot of other people, a lot of things opened up. Work opens up. You get to travel to places, get to meet people. So and whatever stand-up comedy we were doing online on Zoom and other platforms, that's like now happening in comedy studios.
That's great.
So it was different in the during the lockdown and the pandemic where you could just get up and get onto a show.
Yeah.
Now you can get up, get ready, take a bus or take the train, get to the venue like 15, 20 minutes before. So it's the same thing, but the process takes more time now.
It does. Like it's the weird thing. Like obviously the internet is still big. It's not going away anywhere. But it
Yeah.
has been interesting to see that I thought more people would have stayed like trying to make online a thing because it's so convenient.
It's convenient, but then I think people have got frustrated as well.
Yeah.
So they want to get out. Like there's a friend of mine. He got married about 4 years back. So he doesn't have any kids till now. So he and his wife, it was only the two of them. At the first opportunity, both of them get out of the house. They're like, we've been looking at each other's faces for 2 years. That's enough.
Yeah.
So you need people. Everyone wants to go out. See different people, meet different places, meet different people, gain different experiences. So yeah, even I thought I would agree with you. I thought that people might not want to move out. They're like, if things can happen on the internet, let it just happen. But that's not really been the case.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But okay, so yeah, you have to put on clothes now. You can't just go with a shirt and that's it. You have to like say catch the bus and all this other stuff. But I suppose the big plus is you get to be in front of actual people and hear the laughter back.
Oh yes, that's a big motivation. I mean, for anybody who's doing comedy, just to get the audience laughter, that itself is a big motivation. Uh, because no matter what you do, you get zoomed to closest to reality. But what happens is, you ask people to switch on their cameras, you ask people to, unmute themselves, but it doesn't give you that feeling, right? But
Yeah.
when you crack a joke and you get a laughter when you know that, the joke's just bombed on stage, but still someone laughs. So,
Yeah.
those kind of experiences, you don't get it online. And if sometimes you have to talk to the audience as well, talk to people, where are you from, what do you do, and kind of do the crowd work piece of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Uh, that you can't do online because people won't respond, or even if they unmute, the child will be crying, the dog will be barking. So to that extent, I think it's good. Things have opened up. People have started coming back, and yeah, so far so good.
Great.
And I hope
Now,
it stays there.
I understand you've been doing comedy about 5 years or so, or 5+ years now.
Yeah, close to 5 years.
How did this begin for you?
So I used to do a lot of theater in school, and then I used to be a part of this thing called playback theater. So we used to we used to listen to audience stories, and people used to come up with a lot of the life experiences people used to share, and then we used to enact it on stage, literally impromptu.
Yeah.
So that kind of theater which I was doing, but then what happens is that you have to work with people. Now there were few people who had a full time job doing just that.
Sure.
But for me, I have a full time job, and then this is something I do along with it. So I was looking for something that that I can do at my own pace. So if I'm not ready, I don't go on stage.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So that's when stand up comedy happened, and my wife was like, you keep cracking jokes. Why don't you go try it on the stage? So just happened.
Wow. Okay, and so what kind of stuff, like, now that things are opening up again, what kind of like sets do you do? Is it like, do you do long sets, short sets? Are you like gigging around at different like clubs or venues?
So right now, me and a friend of mine, Anand, we do a show together. So it's like an hour and 15 minute stand-up comedy show. So about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, each of us. And the whole premise of the show is like both of them are from the south part of India, South India, but we've never lived in South India.
Ah,
So we share experiences of how South Indians live outside of South India. So
so whereabouts are you if you've never lived there?
I'm born and brought up in Delhi, and Anand's born and brought up in Mumbai.
Ah, okay.
So he brings the South Indian flavor with Mumbai, and I bring the South Indian flavor with Delhi. And we've kind of co-created this entire show. Like it's called a tale of two South Indians, not from a tale of two South Indians, not from South India.
Right.
So a lot of it we've been focusing on that, and then it's like we wanted to do something together. So that's like the first part of it. We're still writing the second part, which is essentially called a tale of two married husbands.
Right.
So we kind of doing that, and our comedy is very very focused. It's very niche, where no swear words, nothing on religion, nothing on race,
Yeah.
nothing below the belt, no politics. So you won't get a Brexit joke from us. You won't get a Trump joke from us.
Yeah. Is it
So
family friendly, or is it still for adults but just kind of clean humor?
no, it's family friendly because so we did a show in Bangalore about a few months back, and we had about 50-60 people attend the show, and some of them had come with their parents, some of them had come with their in-laws, a couple of them had come with their kids.
Wow.
So it's like a mixed bag of an audience. There's something in it for everybody. But in some cases, it does happen that you end up going for a show, and sometimes the content is such that if you're with your parents or somebody elder in the family, it's a bit of an embarrassing feeling, right? When you
Yeah,
go below the belt.
absolutely.
So, this one, our whole premise is that you come, you have a laugh, you don't have to worry about what we're going to talk. It's pure, clean comedy. We won't talk about politics. We won't talk about religion. We won't talk about gender. We won't talk about racism. We won't talk about anything which you might you might feel embarrassed about in front of your parents
Yeah,
or
nothing
something.
controversial. None of those instances where you like. I've had throughout my life. I'll sit in the room and a television will be on with like my parents there, and something will be on, and I'm just sort of like, oh, I just need to like sort of like hide behind my hands. I don't want to see if they're looking and stuff like this. Yeah, I know exactly the
Yeah.
feeling.
So that's the same thing that had used to happen with me when I was sitting. I used to sit and watch the television with my parents, and if there's an awkward moment, that's the only time in the entire day that I'll feel so thirsty that I'm going to finish a glass of water. I'm going to take an hour to finish a glass of water, even if it means that that scene goes on and on and on. I know when it's going to finish, and only then I'm going to come back to the room. Yeah, so we've lived through those kind of experiences, right? So it's like you come, you 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 come. You don't have to think about what we're going to talk about. It's going to be very clean humor, and even otherwise, I do quite a few corporate shows. So nobody in corporates want and to corporates we go through HR and compliance teams and everybody, so they want to know beforehand what you want to talk about. So very clear. They said we don't want any below the belt jokes. Don't crack humor on related to politics. So we don't want any like I did a comedy gig about a few months back for a Russian oil company in India. Their subsidiary in India,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Don't crack jokes about Russia." So
Yeah, of
leave
course.
aside. That's a sensitive topic. I said sorry. I said I won't. Nobody in the world has the guts to do that, and I'm no different.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, do you know the funny thing is, I like in my family background, my family have got, because borders and things changed so much. Like my grandmother was born technically in an area that's now in modern day Ukraine. She considered herself Russian at the time. And the first show we did after like the conflicts this year started, I said like, "Oh, give us a suggestion." It was an improv show. Give us a suggestion, of a problem you'd like to fix. And they're like, Ukraine and Russia. And I was like, my family's like from there. I know I don't sound like it, but we're not going to touch that. And just that meant that the whole audience like, oh, suddenly we shouldn't have asked that because people, if you see my name like Pustansky, that's like, that's the background of it. But it can be a thing where it's like, no, you shouldn't make jokes about that, especially nowadays.
I mean, it's more to do with you can easily get laughs by cracking a joke on Ukraine or cracking a joke on Trump or Brexit. You can get a laugh very easily because people will laugh to anything that is satire or politics. People will laugh to it. But then, as a person performing on stage, as a person doing comedy, I don't think that is sustaining in the long run.
Yeah,
After a point in time, you get like stereotype, or he's going to do only below the belt, or he's going to do only comedy related to controversial topics. So, and you don't want to rub wrong people on the wrong side.
yeah,
So, when you can work with stuff which is safe, which is clean, why not?
yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, so what kind of topics do you touch upon?
So we touch upon when it's a corporate show, I touch upon things like how you deal with HR, then how I built my career. If it was not for Microsoft, I wouldn't have a career
Yeah,
because my career is built on Excel. So those kind of jokes, and now started doing a lot of back to office where how it was during the lockdown, how people were coping with working from home,
yeah.
and now people have started coming back. So the one of the fallacies of you coming, one of the advantages of you during the lockdown that you were working from home was you never got stuck in a fire drill in office.
True.
Now, coming back, you be prepared for it. You go to, that one of the fallacies of coming back is that you get stuck in a fire drill.
Yeah.
So basic things people can relate to it, and
That's like it's a great idea. Imagine if they decided that they needed to keep that practice going, like when everyone was just over Zoom. Like you're working on Zoom, and suddenly it's like, oh, it's 10 a.m. fire drill.
so the thing is that we try to the keep stuff which people can relate to, right? And
Of
it
course.
also depends on which city you're performing in. So I did a show in Chennai about a month back. So nobody in Chennai speaks Hindi. So most of our show is English and Hindi.
Wow.
And in Chennai they speak a language called Tamil.
Yes.
So we modified the show to English and Tamil rather than in Hindi and English. So that's what we did. Then in Bangalore when we went, most of the people were like corporate audience. So we said, okay, let's do more of English than any other language. So I have to, I do retune the material because some of it, I mean, I honestly believe that if you really need to get a joke right, you have to think in the same language, write in the same language, and deliver it in the same language. I can't think in one, translate it, and then deliver it in a third language because then it loses the essence of it.
Yeah, I should imagine. It's like well, one like well, I only speak English, but I should imagine every language has the things that work, like the sayings, the little idioms and stuff like
True,
this
stuff like that.
that don't have an
So
exact translation.
yeah, and and India being such a vast country with so many states and so many languages and dialects and everything, what works for us in Mumbai will not work when we take the show to South India or when we go towards the north, say Delhi. So
Yeah,
those won't work because even with things like we do a lot of Bollywood jokes, Hollywood and Bollywood jokes.
yeah,
If we do Hollywood jokes in the north, people won't relate to it. So, but if we do Bollywood jokes in South, people won't relate to it. So we do research on who give examples of people who they can relate to
yeah. Of course.
because otherwise you lose the audience. Like if I'm going to talk about James Bond in say South of India, people will relate to it. North of India, people will relate to James Bond is like a universal character. Right? Everybody relates to James Bond, but they only relate to James Bond as just one character. Now, if I want to do a set about the history of James Bond,
Yeah,
like starting from Sean Connery to Roger Moore to people who are like one or two, like I did a joke where I said, there was a gentleman called Timothy Dalton who was a James Bond for like one movie or something.
sure.
His Bond movie career was shorter than Joe Root's one day international career. So if I'm sure if I would have done that joke in the UK, people would have understood.
Yeah,
But
absolutely, absolutely.
people won't understand. So I have to kind of uh, replace Timothy Dalton with somebody who people can relate to here. Replace Joe Root with somebody people can relate to here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
there's no one standard show. The premise is the same, but we have to change the content.
Yeah, no, no, that is the challenge, and I suppose that was especially the challenge doing things over Zoom because I just know, like with the shows that we do, that when we've got people from England, America, places in Europe, India, Australia, all over the world, we'd say jokes and we'd be like, "Oh, that's a really good joke," and they're like, "Oh, we don't get the reference." And
So
what I've got in the
very
habit of doing because we still do the online shows is because we'll still frequently, especially have American people do the show, is I'll say something and I'll be like, or I might, as I'm saying it, either say it like, oh, that's but the American way of saying it is this, or I might just start using the American terms, just because
yeah,
it feels easier.
true, very true. And like I had a whole set on Brexit,
Yeah,
which I thought the corporate audience would relate to it. But in India, even the corporate audience, not everybody relates to Brexit. In fact, there were a few Americans in the audience, even they didn't relate to Brexit. They're like, yeah, we've heard about it. But, you know, the so I did like 4 minutes on Brexit, combined it with the Commonwealth, combined it with, India being a former British colony
sure.
and what Brexit really means, how nobody understands. And this was about a year and a half back. So that was the time when 2020 was the time when Brexit really the day one of Brexit happened. So I thought maybe that would be something which corporate audiences would relate to, but not really. A lot of people didn't really
Yeah,
relate to it.
it's the weird thing because obviously, Brexit was quite a big deal out here, but as soon as COVID hit, like over here, obviously it didn't go away, but it kind of mostly no one spoke about it anymore, and so it was a weird thing. So for a good year, like everything was COVID this, COVID that, and it's like a year ago everything was Brexit this, Brexit that, and it's kind of like what's hot in the charts kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is, right? That's how it is for any, and that's human tendency. For any of us, we just remember what our last issue is.
Yeah,
If it's Brexit, it's Brexit. If it's COVID, it's COVID. If it's something else, it's something else. But our and it's nobody's fault. It's human tendency that we just remember what is really fresh in our minds. The other things are just on the back burner, and that I think that's what happened with Brexit also, and I think that's what happened with COVID also right now. Nobody's talking about it.
well, exactly. It's like it's a weird thing. Like with humor, I think probably this is true with stand up and with improv, but probably more so with stand up. Is that it feels great that a new thing is happening in the world or the new thing is happening locally, and it's like I can make up loads of brand new jokes about this because it's brand new. But then if you nowadays, because you can film everything, or if you do it online, then it's like it's forever a record, and it's like that material can go out of date pretty quick.
Yes, so that is another thing that people have to be careful with. So like we do record our shows, but then we just put out like 10 seconds, 20 seconds snippets to just get that social media engagements. But mostly just we just avoid,
Yeah,
because everybody has that aspiration, right? To get a show on Netflix or to get a show on some other big OTT platform. So if I'm going to put out something on YouTube, which people can see right now, then if I want to do something on Netflix like 3 years or 4 years down the line, there's no reason why people would go and watch it.
that's a really interesting thought. Wow, I that well, it's a disheartening thought. I've got so much on YouTube.
No, because see, at the end of the day, it's not about monetization. It's really not about monetization. It's just that like we are in the middle of doing this show that I spoke to you about. So we've done like about 6 shows, and we've got another 4 or 5 lined up for the next 6 months.
Yeah,
So and with every show, we refine the material. We like last time we did a show in Bangalore. These things didn't work. So let's replace them. We'll do something else. So we keep doing that, and it's an iterative process. It's a learning process which we do. So we don't want to we don't want to put anything out on social media till such time where we feel that yeah, we're done with this topic. We've done and dusted. We don't have anything much more to add.
yeah.
So let's look at something else, and maybe then approach something on social media. But yeah, small snippets is a different thing altogether. That really gets the audience interest going as well.
And also, I suppose like nowadays with like Reels and TikTok and all of the and like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and all
Yeah.
this stuff, like these 15-second, 20 seconds bite-sized clips can
True.
be enough.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So I am not. I'm not a very. I mean, I'm active on social media, but I'm not good with this. The reels or TikTok. I wasn't very good at TikTok when TikTok was there. Then I'm not very good at these reels or any other, shorts or anything. It's something which I'm still exploring.
Yeah,
But I would still any day go it's old school, but I would still go the traditional way of recording something, then recording another thing, and then just use some software to just put it together and get that 30-40 seconds out than doing like a YouTube short or Instagram reel. I've still got to warm up to the idea of doing that, but yeah, I'm still a bit of an old school.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm still trying to figure all of this out. It was the weird thing about everything that happened in 2020. Like when when it was like late 2019, I decided like, well, next year for my acting career for Extreme Improv, I need to start doing like a YouTube channel and stuff like that. And I'd started it January 1st, 2020, and it meant that luckily when the lockdowns hit, I had just started working out like live streams and stuff like this, so I was able to quickly start doing shows online. But everything was kind of learning as you go along because you kind of had to, and or anything else that you normally would do was gone, like live shows and stuff. So, but I'm still like trying to figure out all of the different social media platforms and what you do for them and all this other kind of business.
Yeah, and what happens is that there's a lot of content online these days.
Yeah,
So a lot of content online these days, and whether we like it or not, another fallacy of social media has been that the audience has also become the audience. The time for the audience to make an opinion is like just a fraction of a second.
yeah, it's crazy.
So sometimes I feel that you get judged even before you're getting on stage. So to that extent, I'm like I just want to keep the content away from social media, and unless I'm absolutely sure about yes, this is my 40-minute set which I want to put out.
Yeah,
I still do recordings for a few platforms who want to promote the comedy as a genre of entertainment and everything. So I still do recording for some of them,
hmm,
but there are some jokes which I really don't very very select audience which I would share it with. And there's one stuff which I have which is essentially very catered, very niche kind of a content which only certain groups would really be able to appreciate it. Like the one on Brexit is very different.
yeah,
Then the same way there are a few sets about not old, really old Bollywood movies that released like say 45, 50 years ago. So there's a very, very specific audience to it. These days, people won't like. People wouldn't have even heard about it. So some of these sets are very niche, which it has to be catered to the audience. There is no one set fits all. That this is what I'm going to perform. You want to listen to, you listen to. You can't really do that. End of
yeah,
the day, we will have to go with the audience.
yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things, like when I first said to people that I was doing these podcasts, I said to people that were interested, yourself, thankful, thank you for being interested to do it as well. It's like, what things would you like to talk about? And you mention here about that you're an active Toastmaster. Now, obviously, I can see the how that's connected to doing stand up, but what exactly does a Toastmaster do? Where do people need a Toastmaster?
Okay, so essentially what happens is Toastmasters was established in I think around 1920. So and it was established in the US.
Yeah.
It's a platform which helps people improve their public speaking skills. So I've been on it for about 4.5, 5 years now because the company I work for is affiliated to it.
Yeah, certainly.
So we've taken an affiliation, so I'm associated with it. But it really helps you to. There are people join it for different reasons, right? Everybody has their own individual. Like some of them want to join because in their last 2 years appraisals, they've been told that you need to improve on communication skills. So they come for that. Some of them they've never got on stage, although they're interested in going on stage, but they never got on stage. And there is a stage fear. Most people come for it because they've got a fear of getting on stage. And the only way to get over that fear, there's no cure for it. Right? The only way that you can get out of stage fear is you get on stage and keep getting on stage continuously. That's the only way to get rid of that fear, and that's a platform which Toastmasters provides everyone. Like you prepare content, you get on stage, you talk to people, you deliver a speech, you get to know what it is, you take feedback, refine it, go back again, refine it, go back again. It's a very iterative process,
Yeah.
and also if somebody like me who wants to try out new stuff, you get a good any meeting you walk into, you get a good audience of about 20-25 people.
So, like, I
So
can see absolutely how like the process of preparing this speech is connected. It's to doing stand up comedy. Well, actually, something I didn't quite ask you, I suppose, about the stand up side of things is what is your writing process?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Oh, okay. So I suppose when thinking about like you write a speech, like when you're delivering a speech, Toastmasters and all that, but I suppose what that brings me back to is when what is your writing process for stand-up comedy or for writing speeches? Like how do you attack it? How do you approach it?
Okay, so one thing that I always make it a point is I don't write about anything that I have not experienced,
Uh,
because otherwise, the audience will laugh, you'll get a standing ovation and all that, but it still remains superfluous.
sure.
So I always make sure that whether it's a speech, whether it's a stand-up set, whether it's a joke that I'm writing, no matter who the audience is, I will not put out something which I have not experienced. So I've got sets about how I learned driving. I've got sets about my relationship with my father. I've got sets about my relationship with me and my wife. I've
Yeah.
with kids. So and even for something like Brexit, I've got nuances there about experiencing about how it was when I was in the UK.
Yes, you did mention
So
you lived in the UK for 2 or 3 years.
yes.
How did that come about?
So I used to work for an organization which said, "Why don't you go to UK for a year?" I said, "Fine." And then they extended it by another year. So a couple of years, yeah, I was in London for a couple of years. So yeah, that was good. I mean, London's great,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely brilliant.
Wait, so you
And
lived in London, like north, south, west,
North,
north London.
Wembley.
Yeah, okay, great.
So good fun. And so yeah, I used to live in Wembley, and my office was in Canary Wharf.
Okay, yeah.
So you have to cut across central London if you have to get there. So yeah, good fun.
Yeah, no, great experience to be able to get to have done that. And was this for like you say you working out for a IT company kind of as your like your day job kind of thing?
Yes, my day job kind of thing.
And what kind of like IT are you involved in, if I can ask?
So I'm a project manager.
Yeah.
So so it's more of a troubleshooter where somebody has some issue. So anything that is not, I mean, it's a typical it's an unwritten rule of the IT industry that anything that is not delivery, anything that is not sales, falls into the plate of the project manager. So you're like the jack of all trades but the master of none.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose like if I don't know if you'd be familiar with the show, but like you familiar with like The Office and Ricky Gervais and all that.
Yes, yes,
So obviously
I've seen it.
that when you speak about writing from experience, I'm sure project managing IT office and having to be a jack of all trades lends itself to a lot of different scenarios.
Oh yes. So the Office is still one of my all-time favorite shows. So yes, absolutely. And then so I used to go for these French language classes
Oh, wow.
when I was in college, and there were people from different backgrounds, trying to learn French. So that kind of I tried to write something which I've not been very successful at doing that, but which I'm still in the process of doing it. There used to be a show called the Mind Your Language,
Yeah.
where a lot of people from different backgrounds come to learn English in London. So with that concept in mind, I'm trying to put something together where people from different backgrounds come to learn one language, and how that would be. So yeah,
Wow.
bits and pieces of, and we've got a Indianized version of Mind Your Language as well, which used to air about 15, 20 years back. So which a lot of Indian audiences relate to.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool as well.
So bits and pieces of what people can relate to, bits and pieces of what I've experienced, kind of marry both together. So be true to yourself, be as realistic as possible. So I'd rather people just give a small laugh and saying that I was like I when I was in London at that time when I moved out from London, that was the first Brexit for me.
Yeah.
So I would rather let people have a smile, put a smile on people's face with that, rather than doing a superfluous joke on, after Brexit, James Bond came and asked me, how can you get me help a visa for India? So, you know what I mean? It's trying to be true to yourself, trying to put your life experiences first. So because I've experienced that, I can then weave that into a comic tone to deliver it to the audience. Otherwise, uh, there's and to be able to do that consistently, because otherwise, yeah, I mean, you can crack a joke, but that retention power is not there. That retention would be that people will go outside and say, "Oh yeah, he cracked a joke about me."
Yeah.
But the more you do about your life experiences, the more you get yourself involved in the storyline, that's when the audience relates to it. Then the audience is like, oh yeah, this guy is talking about it because he's experienced this, he's gone through this. So you get that extra bit of attention from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned earlier about like if you've got lots of things like on YouTube or what have you, you feel like will that affect getting like the Netflix special? Is that an ultimate aim to have like Netflix or whatever the other Amazon Primes or wherever they put not Disney Plus? I don't think they do stand up, but these kind to get one of these kind of things. Is this where you sit are trying to take the show in the future?
At some point, yes, but I don't really have a timeline in mind.
Yeah.
But apart from getting onto these, there are a few places which I really want to go perform. So that's part of the aspiration. That's aspiration, if you want to call it, or that's a part of the journey that I want to. That
Yeah.
yes, the
What are the
OTT
places where
platforms.
you'd like to perform?
So there's one Apollo in London,
Yeah.
which I really want to get to at some point or the other. That's like the epitome of comedy, right? You get there and you're like, that's it. So
Yeah.
that's one place where I want to get to, and there are a few uh, other places in India as well. Like I've never done a show in Delhi,
Okay.
so I'd like to do a show in Delhi. Then I've never done a show, in Mumbai. I've never done a show. Like I've always stick stuck to my side of this town, this city. So because like Mumbai is huge. From one corner to the other is like 50 kilometers. So I've just stuck to my side of the city. I've never gone towards the other side of the city to explore it. A lot of good comedy clubs, a lot of big people perform. So that's another place where I would really want to uh, go and really perform. And yeah, at some point there are a lot of these niche comedy shows which run on TV as well. So at some point, yeah,
So sorry, which
maybe.
niche comedy shows?
So there are a few comedy shows in India which in the local channels they get telecast.
Oh wow.
So they're like some of them are talk shows. Some of them are it's like a mixed mic where there's somebody who does mimicry and stand-up comedy. There's somebody who's like a poet,
Yeah.
but he weaves in comedy into his poems.
Oh,
So
that's
those
great.
kind of shows.
Yeah.
Uh, but there is a lot of demand for people who can do two things: either being a poet and the ability to weave in comedy, or like do mimicry and the ability to weave in comedy into that. So there's a lot of demand for such people. But then for me, just doing stand up, it's it's that much of that extra effort and that much of an extra mile I need to go to get noticed. But yeah, I think uh, I would have at least reached somewhere in the journey. But the last couple of years kind of has taken us. I think everybody, for that matter, not only everybody. The last couple of years, anybody who's like a performing artist, it's just taken them 3 steps back.
Sure. Yeah. It's nature of the times, I guess.
Yes, true.
Right. So,
And
we'll
hopefully, yeah, now things opening up would be good, and hopefully we are getting audiences back, and
Well,
yeah,
that's great. I mean,
hopefully we.
it's been difficult over here as well. Like I've been to lots of shows. I've done my own shows, and it's just some are a bit more hit and miss. Sometimes I've been in big theatres to see like a West End show, and there's still tons of seats available, which pre-pandemic you'd never see.
Yeah.
It's still like people are a little bit like, I suppose we're at the time of the year where there's a bit more of people worried about stuff like, summer months things are better and stuff like this. So
True.
I think it'll take a couple of years just before this all smooths out and like settles again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a fair assumption. That's a fair estimate also in terms of time. Yeah, like in a couple of years time, I think the fear factor is still there in people
Yeah,
of whatever has happened in the last couple of years, and it's only with time. They say time heals everything, right? So only with
absolutely.
time will people be able to come out of it. And yeah, it's taken a couple of years for people, so it will take an equal amount of time for people to come out of it.
Yeah, I think that's like makes a lot of sense. Right, Sanjeev, I appreciate you coming on today. Let's begin to wrap things up here. But do you have any projects in the pipeline, shows coming up, or things that you're working on that will be coming up? Where can people find out about it, or where can people book things?
So, so most of our shows get listed in India on a website called Book My Show,
Yeah,
and so we're doing one show in Pune this coming weekend, and then we've not listed it out yet, but we've got a couple of shows in about three shows in January and February. So yeah, so we I keep posting them on Facebook. So the easiest way is to just follow my Facebook on where we post show links, ticket links, any snippets or anything. I think Facebook and Instagram are the best places to follow.
yeah, great. If you just as like a note, if you send me those links afterwards, I'll put them in the show notes on YouTube and everything like that for us to
I will do
find.
that.
That's
I
awesome.
will do that. Yeah.
So, for me, my name is David Pustansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Pustansky. This is the XStreamed Chat Podcast. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on youtube.com/extreme improv. And for that's for the video version to see the show, but also you'll be able to get the audio versions on iTunes and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all of these other kinds of places where you would normally find your podcasts. So, Sanjeev, I thank you very much for coming on the show, and it'll be good to not leave it quite so long next time. Find another opportunity.
Absolutely, David. Great connecting with you, and we should talk soon.
Excellent. And audience, until next time, ciao for now.